Citizens are welcome to comment on agenda items during meetings. Citizens wishing to comment on matters which are not on the official agenda should fill out the sign-up sheet maintained in the back of this room indicating the speaker's name, address, and topic to be discussed. A limit of 3 minutes applies to public comment unless extended by vote of the board. The public is reminded that any request to have an item placed on the board's agenda must first be submitted to the superintendent. Our guests are also reminded that any request for the board to consider disciplinary action against a school district employee or any presentation of factual complaints against a district employee will be considered out of order and cannot be heard by the board without first having a recommendation for disciplinary action from the superintendent.
Thank you. Board members, have you received your agenda and addendum?
Yes.
Yes. Do we have any changes or additions this evening? Dr. Ruiz?
Madam Chairman, I would recommend adoption of the agenda as presented and amended.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Yes, ma'am. There are no questions or comments. We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Ms. Cook made the motion and Dr. Fulgrim made the second. It's the first time I didn't write it down. I let Robin take it, I had to write it down. Okay, we're ready? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. A little slow tonight. We're trying our live stream out. We're doing a test run, so it appears that it's slowing things down a bit. Is it possible for us to go on with our presenters while you figure that out? Yes? Yes, okay. Dr. Ruiz, would you like to introduce our presenter this evening?
Yes, ma'am, I would. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Mark Owens from the American Heart Association. He's going to recognize some fit-friendly work sites and some other activities that our schools and children and teachers and staff members have been involved in. We're very proud of our association with the American Heart Association and the support that they give us and the participation that we have in our schools for our initiative.
Awesome.
Good evening, Mr. Owens, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. And thank you to you, Dr. Ruiz, and to the school board for all of your support. To the principals and teachers and families and students, thank you for all of your support. The American Heart Association. It is a big pleasure of mine to be the representative to work with all the schools in Nassau County. I am, again, Mark Owens. I'm the Youth Marketing Director, responsible for working with not only all the schools in Nassau, but also Duval and Clay counties. Last year also included Baker, Bradford, and Union counties. So, what's a good word? Commitment and a good communication with the teachers and principals that choose to be a part of this was extremely awesome. And I would say out of the 6 counties I worked with, they were definitely the leader in all of that, in all of the above. And I think you'll see that. I put together a little bit of a presentation This is, I believe, our first time presenting in front of the school board here. And so I wanted to give you just a very quick background before going into those awards on the Heart Association, so you had a little bit better perspective on what we do. And so I'm not going to read all of these details, but the Heart Association always carries a very good street credibility, if you will. Everyone knows that Heart Association does great things, but sometimes it's hard for people to point out specific examples. And I wanted to kind of shed some light on some of those key victories that you could see what these efforts go towards. So the Heart Association, things like no smoking in restaurants. You know, just like me working with what we call the youth market here in schools, we have other Heart Association representatives that work with political figures who also try to inspire change on the policy side. So no smoking in restaurants, state by state, has been work from us, and specifically from us. So huge victories. AEDs being required in schools, AEDs being in airports and other public places. All the way to today, to where now in Florida, CPR in schools is a big topic of conversation, and being that 34 states have passed it, so kind of setting the stage for that in all the rest of the states, and that's where some typical examples are right now. The CPR in schools, especially, is something with Florida being a peninsula. You know, it's just something that kind of makes sense in many ways, but established in 1924, I think a really key stat here is that there's over 3,000 employees with the Heart Association nationwide and over 22.5 million volunteers, which is amazing. And you look at the involvement from the county that you'll see in this presentation, and you go, oh, okay, I see how that happens. Next slide here. I always like talking about this because I haven't always had a background working with the Heart Association. I was in the private sector and in a completely different industry. And I think this is really important to look at. Key figure here is the management in general, the 8.6%. So what you're seeing here is where the donations go, because we are not-for-profit and there are donation components to our programs even in schools, to where it's very, very powerful to look at this and look at the amount of dollars, how fiscally responsible we are, and looking at how many dollars are committed to the organization, how large we are, and how we get there is by being kind of lean and mean. So out of youth market directors covering the entire Southeast, there's 37 of us covering the entire Southeast, and many would estimate many, many more. But that's how we're able to get to that number. And I always think it's the elephant in the room, so I always like to point that out. So we have 3 programs that we work with schools on, and 4 now. We have a brand new one. So Jump Rope for Heart is the elementary school program, and I've been in place for 1 year, and your schools have been incredibly supportive for far longer than the 1 year I've been in place. The records actually don't go far back enough. So I'm not the program's been going on 37 years. I'm not sure exactly how many years Nassau County's been on board. I wish I could tell you that. But Jump Rope for Heart, Hoops for Heart is kind of the graduation of that program for middle schools. And then our brand new program for middle schools, the Great Replay, which I'm very excited about. And then Red Out is a program we've done in high schools. And really there's 2 different parts of the mission we're trying to get in place. The excitement for the physical activity, the heart disease prevention, and the heart healthy messaging that we can get not only to the students, but to the families. And then the community engagement, which also is the donation component of it, which also reinforces it to students and to the families as they're reaching out to their other family members, maybe outside of this community as well. So, this is a special thank you for all of the principals and coordinators that participated last year with us. And at this time, if it would be okay, I would like to call everybody up to recognize them one by one. And this is the full list of schools here that have participated in either Jump Rope for Heart or Hoops for Heart events. And so I'd like to call them up. So Bryceville Elementary